everybody, welcome back to Embrace the Journey with Sharon. Thanks so much for tuning in, and today my guest is Dayle Hoffmann. I'm really excited to have this conversation with her today because today we're going to talk about passion and following it and recognizing it in our lives. Dayle is an actress. She's also somebody who is a freelance writer. She's very active in our community related to the arts here in Sarasota, as well as outside of Sarasota, but I know her from the local area here. So I'm really excited to have her on today, and we're going to explore a little bit about how she followed her passion, what obstacles she may have come up against, and hopefully you will find some inspiration in this so that when you have that little voice inside of you, you'll start to follow it too. The breadcrumbs. I think they're breadcrumbs for us.
I haven't heard that expression, but I like it.
Yeah. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Sharon, for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm usually singing your seat. So
right, exactly. So just, sit back and be comfortable.
Yes, I'm going to try.
So tell us a little bit about you, who you are in the world, and the footprint that you're leaving, and then we'll delve into some other stuff.
That's, a whole entire episode.
Yeah?
Well, I'm just, I'm somebody who just enjoys life. I embrace whatever comes at me, and I try not to let anything get in my way of where I see myself going. And, just when I grew up in a house of a lot of people, and I wanted to...
Like a big lot of brothers and sisters?
My parents got divorced when I was young, so I moved in with my grandmother, my grandfather, and my dad's 4 brothers.
Wow.
So it was, and then my 4 brothers were 4 siblings. So it was a large family.
But male dominated.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it wasn't easy, but it was, overall it's what shaped me today. So when I was 13, I picked up a book called Pulling Your Own Strings by Wayne Dyer because I was really quiet and shy as a child. I liked to listen to what people had to say, and I really didn't have anything to say. And I said, well, at this point, if I don't have anything to say, what I can do is get as many books as I can to start reading and learning on my own, so I'm never at a loss for words. And I was shy, so I also said to myself, well, if someone just gave me a script, then I'll always have something to say. So
Do you remember how old you were when you actually had that kind of
13.
Thought? 13.
Yeah, I was young. But I also felt like there were so many people in the house, and my parents just got divorced, well, when I was 4, but, I just felt like a burden sometimes. No, it wasn't their fault at all, it was just my own perception.
Well, I would think, now, in the age group between the brothers and everybody, where did you fall? The
I was
youngest?
middle. No,
You're the middle.
I was
middle too. So
yeah.
So middle, I think, is an interesting place for a lot of people, because the first always gets, a certain type of attention. Then there's the middle, and then there's the latter, which always gets a different type of attention. And I think sometimes when we fall, and I don't think that it's a purposeful thing, it's just the way it is. So I recognize that almost, where do I fit in here?
Sure.
Yeah.
And so I got my first job at 13 as well.
Doing what?
I worked at a ceramic store. It's called Plaster Fun Time. So used to, kids would come in and they'd paint these ceramics. They'd use them as gifts, or older people come in and just paint. And kids would have their birthday parties there. So it was great because I got my sisters and my brother, my friends, jobs there. And so I started at a young age, but I decided, when I went to college, that I wanted to break out of my shell, take public speaking classes. I wanted to be a journalist, on TV.
Now, where did that come from? Okay, and let me back up for a second here, because you were 13 and you were shy, and you didn't think you had much to say, and you got the book. Now, did you get the job after you started reading the book? Did you find a confidence in it, or?
I don't remember.
Okay. Just wondering, because you said you were shy, but yet you got a job at 13.
Right, but
that's a big step.
That came out of me probably wanting to get out of the house.
Yeah.
And also wanting to not have to, in school you have all these things you have to pay for. You have trips, and all of the kids were on, we all played an instrument. We all were on sports teams, more than one, and school's expensive as well when you have to go do all these things. So I didn't want to have to ask anybody. And for money, I wanted to have my own. Yeah. And maybe that was my entrepreneurial spirit coming through at that age. And I think I get that from my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Because a lot of kids don't do that now.
No.
A lot of kids think that, and this is nothing against you guys, but I think that the parents that are out there now, I think parents always strive to try to give their children more than what they had, so to speak. And in a way, it's a good thing, and in a way, it's not. It doesn't. I don't think it empowers our youth as much as it should be. Okay, so fast forward a little bit to college, and you have now this growing desire for somebody who's shy and didn't have much to say to actually get out there and start speaking or sharing your voice.
I was trying to overcome things that I knew that would probably not benefit me going forward. Mm-hmm. I still do that today, but I knew that if I could overcome it, I just knew what I wanted to do at that point. I knew if I wanted to be an actress, and I wanted to be on TV, and I wanted to deliver a message. And I learned at one point it wasn't really the news that I wanted to deliver. I learned later on that what I really wanted to do was talk to people. Because as a child I became a very good listener. And I didn't realize that those skills are really important to have once you, for life. It's a life skill that most people don't have. They listen, but they don't hear.
Right, because I think what I learned in a leadership program, and when I have the courage to look at myself and recognize that I was somebody who did this at one time. Most of us, when you're in a conversation with somebody, are thinking about what I have to say.
Right.
And when you're doing that, when you're in your head, you're not listening.
Right.
You're really not listening. So a real quick thing that I learned in leadership is to watch somebody's lips as they're speaking. And as you do that and you're focused on their lips, you can't be here.
That's
so you have to...
Because I look at the eyes.
That's it, yeah.
I look
that can take you
directly
to a
in the
whole other
eyes.
place. Well, it's so close. I'm not saying, I'm just going to... But when you're focused on that, the eyes or the mouth, we end up not going in here.
Right.
Yeah.
It's also being consciously aware, too. But that takes people a little while to learn.
I'm still learning that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, I progressed and just kind of went on my own. When I was 19, I left. I moved to Florida. So I left Long Island, where I grew up, moved to Florida. And just my exploration started then,
So now when you were in college, did you get involved in plays? Did you get involved in the school paper? Did you explore any of that? You just knew, but you weren't sure of the next steps to take, or you had in your...
Right.
Is that coming to Florida one of those steps?
I knew I had to go through a year of college before my dad would even let me move. So I did. Yeah. But then I went back when I moved to Florida. I took a year off, and then I went back when I lived here.
And did you go back specifically for?
I went back, no, I actually went back to challenge myself. I challenged myself because I was never good in math or science, I guess. So I just worked really hard. I went to all the extra help classes and did really well. I thought maybe at that point I was, going to school for pharmaceutical because I was thinking, I was looking more for the money. Where is the money at? And there was no happiness in there for me because I just didn't like math or science. And why push myself for something like that when it's not me?
Yeah.
There was
well,
another...
kudos to you for recognizing that. I mean, because I have many friends, and I'm sure you know people too, that are in jobs or careers that they went into either because they thought that's what they wanted to do, or they were kind of pushed in a way by family, and are still doing it, but are not happy in their lives. And money doesn't bring you happiness.
No.
Yeah.
No. So...
It can enhance it.
It does.
But it doesn't necessarily bring it to us.
Right. I made a lot of sacrifices to be where I'm at right now. And but it's also, there's a perception as well.
Yeah.
I've learned that you really just need to remain confident in who you are and keep believing that you can do something. And when you know what you want to do and you have this feeling that, no, I just know this is what I'm meant to do, nobody can stop you. People try. There are so many obstacles and so many speed bumps in the road that that's what pushes me to continue to do what I'm trying to do, to help other people realize that, because someone tells you you can't, doesn't mean you can't.
Right. Yes, and so I just caught your moment of passion, and where it came out was you were expressing yourself, and you said when you want to do something, it's a feeling that I pick up on when I'm around people, and I'm sure you do too. Mm-hmm. When somebody's passionate about something and somebody's driven by something, they can walk into a room, you might not even know them, but we're drawn to them. There's these people. They walk into a room, they're not necessarily the loudest person in the room. They don't always have to be the best dressed. It's just, there's something, about them. There's a presence, there's an essence, there's a confidence about them. When you know kind of who you are and what you're here for, or a part of it,
right?
It comes out, and that's the passion that we're talking about.
And you don't have to fully know who you are, because
no, I don't think we ever will.
I'm still discovering who I am, and I'm still trying to change the things that I'm not happy with, or the things that I think I need to challenge myself on.
Yeah. And do you think it's changing? Do you think it's, because we use change so much, and I'm asking this as much for me as it is for you, because I use change a lot, and choice. It's a choice. But I think this is a good conversation to have with you, or part of the conversation. Mm-hmm. When you say change, like I've noticed, there are some things about myself that I don't particularly, I'm not fond of. Let's put it that way. And I've got a few years on you. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to say that, I don't know if I've been able to change those things about me. I think I recognize them more now, and I almost like catch myself, so that if I end up kind of going there, or my thoughts start going there, I'm like, no, you're better than that now. But I don't know if I actually, there are still patterns that come up that I'm like, oh, I thought I got rid of you. So do you find that, or is that just me, something I have to work on more?
No, it's a relevant question, because I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
But there's a couple different ways to overcome change. You can totally change something, or you can adjust your ways to, because maybe it's something you can't change, but you can adjust either your mindset.
Yeah, the perception of what it is, or how you put it out into the world. Yeah.
But change really comes from within, and it's there's that saying, it's like you don't change until you get so tired of being so tired, is when you actually make those changes.
Yeah.
But it could be a little thing. For me, maybe it's challenging myself to be more humble. Mm. I don't really know that I'm not, but I don't. This is my challenge,
What does humble mean to you?
I don't know. I guess I just have this, I'm not always perceived as being the nicest person by some people, because I'm so honest. And I just feel like being honest with people is what we all should do. Mm-hmm. Because going around and living as a yes person all the time isn't beneficial to anybody.
Yeah.
You're teaching people wrong patterns.
Yeah.
Well,
I love the quote from Byron Katie that, and maybe somebody else has said it before, but I refer back to Byron Katie. It's none of my business what you think of me.
Right. And that's what I felt like my entire life.
Yeah.
But then you have to think sometimes, what people think of you in some instance,
Yes, and if you're being true, right, mm-hmm. to yourself and to your passions and to all of that, and somebody else thinks whatever. A lot of times we assume what people think.
Right.
But so say somebody shares with you, well, whatever. Do you change who you are? Or, do you know what I'm saying?
No.
What does that do for you, right? What does that do for you?
No, you realize that those aren't the people that are supposed to be around you.
Yeah.
And you say thank you very much, and that's it. You don't talk to them anymore unless you really need to. So it's also who you surround yourself with. But being humble to me really is, I think, it's just learning to talk to people maybe in a different way, or not think that I know everything, and allow other people to express their opinions without me trying to jump in, and let them finish their thoughts, because I tend to I don't judge people, at least I really try hard not to, but when I know something within me, and I know, I guess on a professional level too, that somebody's not supposed to be where they're at, I would tend to just kind of disregard their direction or something, or their statement. However, what I've been trying to do is just let them do it, and allow myself to listen to what they're saying, and really hear it. And maybe they do have something important to say.
And maybe that's where their learning is coming from right now, because you have taken a path where you've educated yourself, you've pushed yourself, you've challenged yourself, and you started that at a young age. There are a lot of people that might not even be on that part of the path until an older soul.
Right.
And there are some people, unfortunately, there are some people that you'll meet in life that never get there. So for me, I always try to look into somebody and just see the truth of their spirit, in the sense of I'm never, very few people will you ever truly get to know. Those are the closest and dearest people that we are blessed with in our lives. And those are few and far in between. They really, really are. But I always figure there's a reason for people that are crossing my path.
Right.
Whether it be for me to learn something from them to learn something from me. There's a reason.
Yeah, there's always a message, I believe, that you have to get out of somebody, or you have a message for them to learn.
Yeah.
So I always try to find the good in everybody.
Yeah.
And, again, my humbling is really just listening to people more and hearing them before, and it helps empower them too, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess I can give you an example, as far as if somebody's directing me in a scene and I don't see their vision, to just let them talk, let them say what they need to and be who they are. And then perhaps I'll find something in that.
Yeah.
Or I will find something in that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I think people listen to other people way too much.
Yeah. I think it's, when you're in business or when you're on a team, or when you're, kind of in something where there's more than one person involved, I found, and here with AmazingUniversetv, people have different ideas. Not everybody's in the same exact place. So we can either, kind of come up against each other, or we've agreed to set the stake. What is the stake of this company? And so if we stay focused on the stake and kind of tether ourselves to it, it's easier to have a discussion, listen to each other, tie into, okay, what's the stake, and what part of what you're saying and what part of what I'm saying, is going to help create this, and then the rest, just walk away from it, basically.
Well, I also think that a mistake that people make too, and when I was younger, I had this job where I traveled a lot, but I was never the one to just say, yes, I agree with that, if I didn't.
Yeah.
And I would always say what I thought.
Yeah.
And I was recognized in the company because that, and the CEO of the company said to me, what I really like about you is that you're not a yes person. You tell me how it is, and I need more people like you around.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are afraid to just stand up for themselves. For me, it doesn't work. I can't. That's why I work for myself most of the time, because controlling your own path for me is important, because I have a mission. I mean, I actually sat down once and I was doing 6 different jobs. I didn't even know which business card to give anybody. So I said, all right, this is ridiculous. Let me just, do a list of all of the good things that I'm good at, all of the things in these 6 different businesses that, I can pull out that I like. And then let me look at that list and come up with something that really takes the essence of all of those and it makes up who I am.
Yeah.
And when I was able to do that, it was so freeing, and now I've been on this path to really talk to people, connect with them, bring their stories out, and help other people, live their dreams through other people's stories.
Yeah.
Kind of just like what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for coming on today, because in my opinion, Dayle has created really something pretty amazing. And if I want everybody to go and visit her. Her information will be on the website, so go visit her. She's got some great expertise in a lot of different areas. She's a fantastic actress, so if you're looking for somebody for a part, I would highly recommend her, and you can tell she's quite beautiful. And I could go on and on with this conversation about you, but this is talking about passion, and talking about creating, and talking about creating who you want to be in this world. And that is what embracing the journey is all about. So I want to remind you to embrace your journey, because when you do, life becomes amazing. So thank you again for being on.
Well, you're welcome, Sharon. And I just want to say that, you're somebody who's made a huge change within yourself. So if you can do it, it's just a belief within yourself. So anyone can do that. So thank you again for having me.
Yep. You're quite welcome. Okay, bye now.
Bye.